Planning minimizes the risk of future events or uncertain events, or probably I would say risk lies in future events. Let us take a deeper look at how planning helps us minimizing the risk. Let us take an example of this teacher factory project. See, understand, I have around 10 editors with me. Everybody has their own PCs. Now, this is a hardware thing. So one day I was just imagining what happens if two PCs are being corrupted because of some XYZ reason, not purposeful way. The whole work of my employees will be wasted and I'll be losing lot of my output. So now, just by thinking about that future event, that if what happens if the things or my hardware or my machines, the computers get corrupted, I think there is a huge loss to me. With planning, that basically looking into the future, that what can be the changes happening, I understood that there is a huge risk of losing my data. So, what I did, that I have taken a step. This planning, this looking into the future helps me a way out. What did I do? Now, I plan for every 15 days. In every 15 days, there is a backup happening. So even if the machine gets corrupted, I have a backup ready, so I'll not have a loss of 2 months. I'll reduce that loss to only 15 days work. Understand, my planning helped me reduce my future risks. Planning helps in minimizing the risk. I'll explain this with a greater detail. Understand that planning is based on forecasting techniques. Well, planning basically means looking into the future, trying to know about what are the future changes happening, future events happening, or probably future risk or uncertain events that are lies in road. So now what happens with planning, we try to look into the future and try to identify all what will be the situation. So future events, future risk, or future changes. So when you try to look into the future, you start seeing all things. Okay, what are the future events will be happening? Future changes needs to be done, and future risk are lying. So when you know my first example where I was, with those forecasting techniques, when I was thinking about my project's planning, I started knowing the risk involved with the hardware or the machines. So not only with planning, we understand what are the risks involved, but we try to predict what are the future changes needs to be done, or what are the future events you will be going to come across. Now understand, you cannot eliminate the changes or the risk associated. But yes, with proper planning, you can anticipate and tackle in an appropriate manner, and you take some preventive measures to minimize the risks. Well, planning helps us deciding in advance what are the tasks to be taken. Understand, now since I looked into the future probable risk of my hardware, now I have a task that every 15 days I should be taking backup. Suddenly it started helping me out for backing up. So my risk started going down. Planning gives us the guideline or a way to tackle or handle these future changes or uncertain events. Hence, planning is helpful in minimizing the risk of the future or uncertain events. So, in nutshell summary, well, planning is basically forecasting techniques. So what do you mean by forecasting techniques? Planning helps us to look into the future and try to understand future different events. So how future will be shaping up, what are the different events I'll be seeing, what are the changes, probable changes I will be going through, or what are the probable risk or probably some uncertain events which probably I have not thought of. Now because of planning we started knowing all these future changes or future events or future risks, now planning guides us to understand what are the tasks to be performed in order to handle or tackle these future changes or uncertain events. Not only they gives us tasks to be performed, they also gives us the guidelines or ways or methods to handle such uncertain events or future changes. Understand, you cannot eliminate or you cannot reduce those future changes or risk, but yes, definitely you can reduce their impact or effect on your organization. Well, planning helps us anticipate or tackle these future changes by way of preventive measures. Hence, planning reduces risks.